What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Today, I have another good old update video for you guys, and we have a lot to go over, so let's jump right in. And I want to start with this very silly non-story of a story, but a lot of you guys have been tagging me in it, so let's just cover it. Let's get it out of the way. And that is this tweet from Caitlin Clark that has now racked up 8.6 million views. And here's what she had to say. She said, "Got fined $200 for this. Bench mob will be even more rowdy tomorrow. Let's go." And that is in response to an Instagram comment that she made on this photo of the Indiana Fever bench. So as you can see, this was from game 2 of the Fever versus Dream series, round 1 of the WNBA playoffs. And the bench is going crazy. This is the game that was at Gamebridge. And Caitlin Clark commented and she said the refs couldn't stop us. So she was fined $200 for this. This blew up so much more than I thought it would. It has been no secret that players this entire season have been fined for their comments made against the referees. This is also something that happens across all sports. You can't blatantly come out and criticize the referees. Now, with this comment, it doesn't really seem like she was criticizing the referee. She just said refs couldn't stop us. And I feel like she was referring to the bench because they all were kind of like getting really hype and they ran on the floor a couple of times. And I feel like that's what she was referring to, not to the fact that the refs couldn't stop them, meaning the refs were making bad calls in the game. But nonetheless, she was fined $200. This happens a lot in the NFL, in the NBA. However, they are fined much more than $200. And I feel like for a lot of WNBA players, they don't really care what they have to say because the fines are so minimal. Just wanted to share that with you guys. There was a section of the internet, and it feels like a small section, but there was a section of the internet saying, "Oh my gosh, Caitlin is so entitled. She thinks that she's better. She thinks that she can get away with anything." And people were making it a bigger deal than it needed to be. You're always going to have that section of fans, but a lot of people just thought that this was really funny. And I guess that she also, when she went into practice, I guess the same day that she tweeted this, one of the reporters said that she walked into practice and she like yelled to the reporters like, "Hey reporters, go look at my Twitter, go look what I just posted." And so I guess she thought it was very funny and she wanted there to be some media attention around it. So that's that, you guys. It's very silly. It's kind of a non-story story, but nearly 10 million people were engaging with this one single tweet. So I felt like I needed to talk about it with you guys. And speaking of another instance where people were overreacting on the internet, some WNBA fans were really mad at Shams. Now, if you're not familiar with Shams, he is an ESPN senior NBA insider. He is arguably the #1 insider in sports. It used to be Shams and Woj, and then Woj retired. So now Shams is the guy. He breaks a ton of news, especially in the NBA, but there are also times that he breaks big stories in the NFL and Team USA stuff, sometimes with the WNBA. And he was actually the one who broke the news about A'ja Wilson winning MVP. And so he tweeted this. He said, "Breaking. Las Vegas Aces star A'ja Wilson has won the 2025 WNBA MVP award, becoming the first player in league history to win the honor 4 times." Now, the controversy comes in because Shams tweeted this earlier on in the morning. And if you remember the way that the WNBA presented A'ja Wilson with her MVP award, they surprised her. She was in the practice facility. They brought Bam Adebayo, who is her boyfriend. Like, they brought him in. He was holding the trophy. Kathy Engelbert was there. It was this huge surprise for A'ja. So a lot of WNBA fans were saying it was so horrible of Shams. How could you spoil her moment? You haven't even tweeted about the WNBA all season, and then you decide at this moment to tweet about the WNBA. The comments were wild. And I actually tweeted, I said, "No way you guys are mad at Shams for literally doing his job." And somebody said, "He's an NBA insider. He hasn't tweeted any WNBA content all season. Just kind of strange to steal the thunder from the WNBA beat writers on the biggest announcement of the season." Like, you... Another moment that I want to bang my microphone across my head. Yeah, Shams is like, "You know what? This is a time I should let these other smaller report." The WNBA is not ready for the big leagues. This is how things work. He's the #1 insider because he does stuff like this, because he gets the biggest stories. He's not waiting for anyone. He's not giving a charity case to another reporter in the WNBA just to treat him like a charity case. No, he's doing his job. This is why he's the #1 insider. And it's just kind of annoying. Like, there's always somebody complaining about something. He had the story, he broke it. Better believe if he gets a story about any other player in the league that's a big story, whether it's Caitlin Clark, whoever, Shams is gonna break it. And so anybody who's a WNBA beat reporter should be looking at Shams as like, this is how I could do my job better. It's just silly the kind of selective outrage that the WNBA internet decides to get mad about. And speaking of the MVP race, I did want to show you guys the final voting results for the WNBA MVP award this season. If you guys remember at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were saying that this was Fee's year to win MVP. And I do feel like in the first half of the season, Fee was running away with it. She was doing some crazy things. She also is only the second player in WNBA history to shoot 50, 40, and 90. So 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from free throw range, which is a great accomplishment. She's a super efficient player. But if you look at these MVP voting results, so Asia received 51 first place votes. Napheesa Collier with only 18 first place votes. Now she had 42 second place votes and 12 third place votes. Asia had no third, fourth, or fifth place votes. Now fifth in voting actually went to Kelsey Mitchell. And I do kind of think that Kelsey Mitchell has flown under the radar this whole season. And the MVP award is a regular season award, so you can't really take into account what these players are doing in the playoffs. But if you see the kind of turmoil and all the things that the Fever have been through, in the way that Kelsey Mitchell has really put this team on her back, especially with Caitlin being out and scoring the way that she has scored this season and just all the things that she's doing. I think another reason that Kelsey Mitchell flies under the radar is because she's not like a super animated or flashy player. She really just goes out there, goes to work, gets the job done. She is super humble. She doesn't say a lot in the media. She is always hyping up her teammates. Like, she is just probably one of the most humble players in the WNBA. And even when she's out there, like, she's not celebrating when she makes a big three. She's always just stone cold, locked in, focused. And that's kind of what the Fever need. They need somebody to really ground them. But I do feel like she was definitely overlooked in these MVP votes. I don't think that she deserved to be in fifth place, but you had Asia in first, Fee second, Alyssa Thomas third, Alicia Gray fourth, and Kelsey Mitchell fifth. I think you can flip-flop Kelsey and Alicia, and I think that there's a case to be made that Kelsey should have been top three in MVP voting. But of course, you guys let me know your thoughts on the MVP voting. A lot of people still think that Napheesa Collier was robbed of MVP. I am one who would have also voted for Asia to win MVP because I think between her and Fee, she has just been more dominant of a player. And even when you look at the matchups between the two, the last time these two matched up, Asia outperformed Napheesa Collier. But it was a close race, and rightfully so. I want to point out something, and this could totally be a non-factor, but I just want to bring it up because I've been thinking about it. I wonder if Napheesa Collier being the head of Unrivaled had anything to do with people maybe not voting for her or maybe thinking of Fee differently this season, just because we've seen all of the drama that has kind of unfolded between Unrivaled and the WNBA, the CBA talks. Unrivaled also just started today in announcing what players would be playing for Unrivaled in this upcoming season. And Fee is also somebody, like, if you remember in the WNBA All-Star Draft, when she was drafting her team, she wore an Unrivaled t-shirt. And so she definitely has felt like she's put Unrivaled at the forefront of this season ahead of the WNBA. Like, she talks about it any chance she gets, even when it comes to WNBA things. So I just wonder. I don't think it has anything to do with the voting. I don't know if you guys think that there's anything to do with that also. Let me know in the comments below. I just wonder how her relationship with Kathy is, or her relationship with WNBA higher ups or WNBA media because of Unrivaled, and how sticky the whole thing has gotten. I just wanted to bring that up. Doesn't take anything away with how she performs on the court, and she might just lead her team to the WNBA finals. The Minnesota Lynx beat the Phoenix Mercury in game one of the semifinals, and this game was in Minnesota. It's definitely going to be a physical series. Actually, after watching that game, I realized just how physical and sometimes dirty Phoenix can be when they play basketball. And I'm just watching bodies hitting the floor, bodies flying all the way around. But the Minnesota Lynx have gone up 1-0 on the Phoenix Mercury. You guys let me know in the comments below also, who would you love to see in the finals? I know a lot of people who watch this channel are Fever fans, but who do you want to see in the finals? I originally wanted to see Fever versus Mercury because of the drama. Just could you imagine the drama, the storylines, the drama, the endless things that would be in that series? Like, it would be wild. However, I think for the basketball sake, for good basketball, Lynx Fever would be a better matchup. But you guys let me know in the comments below. And speaking of physicality, I want to talk about a couple plays from the Fever Aces game 1. The A'ja Wilson Aaliyah Boston matchup this series is everybody's eyes are going to be on that matchup. And a lot of fans would agree that A'ja has a special whistle, but I want to show you this play here where Aaliyah Boston actually elbowed A'ja in the throat. And at first glance, I thought A'ja flopped. She definitely sold it, but Aaliyah Boston did swing her elbow and she swung it too high. I mean, you can't swing your elbows in general, but Aaliyah Boston elbowed A'ja Wilson in the throat. They did call an offensive foul here. I thought that was the right call. But there were so many other plays where it felt like A'ja was bullying other players on the Fever. And I want you to watch this play here with Lexi Hall, where Lexi Hall, she played the most minutes in the last game. She is always on the ground and she takes the most charges in the WNBA, or she did at a point in time. But if you watch this, she's standing her ground. She's trying to down screen and A'ja just chucks her to the ground. Now, there was no whistle there, and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle. They just kind of let it go. And lastly, you guys, I want to show you probably the most controversial, in my opinion, play of the night. I thought it was very weird how the referees called this one. So Kelsey Mitchell is driving to the basket and A'ja Wilson fouls her. And as you can see, Kelsey falls to the ground. The referees call the foul, but then they take it to the monitors to review because A'ja is saying that she got hit in the face. This was wild to me because I actually have never seen ESPN kind of do this zoom in on a review. I would love this zoom in on a lot of plays that they are reviewing, but they zoomed in right here and you can see Kelsey Mitchell's right elbow kind of goes into A'ja Wilson. But if you're not watching the full play, you might just think that Kelsey swung her elbow to the side. Kelsey Mitchell was going up for the layup and her right hand was her guide hand. She's going up with her left hand. A'ja is coming into her with both hands up and she leans into her, and that's where the foul happens. And A'ja kind of put herself into Kelsey's elbow. Kelsey didn't swing her elbow. It's literally just her guide hand that goes away when you're going up for a layup. However, the referees stuck with the foul on A'ja, and then they called a technical foul on Kelsey because the contact was after the whistle. This in itself was where my mind was blown. The contact was after the whistle. Kelsey Mitchell is mid-air. What do you want her to do mid-air when the whistle is blown? You want her to just levitate down to the ground and not move a muscle? Contact after the whistle would be, okay, she comes down and then she shoves A'ja, or then she elbows A'ja when they're on the... They said it was because of contact after the whistle. My mind was blown on this. So the Aces got to shoot their technical free throws, and then Kelsey Mitchell got her 2 free throws. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what was going on. We have seen from the referees this entire season, they have been inconsistent. There have been some rough calls. And then you have somebody in A'ja who probably has the best whistle in the WNBA. So the Fever just have to know what they're going up against. I do predict that game 2 is going to be a lot more physical, and the Aces are really going to come out with some fire in game 2. In other news, a couple more stories for you guys. The entire Seattle Storm coaching staff was let go. Per sources, the whole Seattle Storm coaching staff has been dismissed. The franchise is seeking a complete renewal of the sideline. So this is Noelle Quinn and her entire coaching staff. Now, the Seattle Storm were the 7th seed in this year's WNBA playoffs, and they lost to the Aces. But if you guys remember from last season, there has been drama upon drama upon drama that has come out of the Seattle Storm organization. A lot of it has been kept really hush-hush. We don't know what is going on. But if you remember, Jewel Lloyd had a complaint against the Seattle Storm coaching staff, and that's why Jewel Lloyd is now with the Aces. There have just been multiple players. Also, in her exit interview, Lexi Brown said, "I just want everyone to know that I was healthy this season," because she really wasn't getting any playing time whatsoever. So there's just been a lot of chatter around that organization. And I think what probably happened is the front office is like, look, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but if you're not winning, if you're not getting past the first round of the playoffs, there's only so much that we can take. So at this point in time, whether you're right or wrong, this is just adding too much noise to our organization. And you guys are also not performing on the court. So the whole coaching staff has got to go. I don't know if we will ever find out the truth, if there was things that were going on in the locker room or the coaches were creating this kind of toxic environment at the Storm. We'll just have to see if more information comes out. But the Seattle Storm is starting anew. And I feel like in a sense, like I don't really have any skin in the game in this, but for Dominique Malonga, who I do think can be one of the biggest superstars ever in the WNBA, I want her to get a very solid coach, not a questionable coach. So for that reason alone, if Dom stays in Seattle, I'm happy about the coaching change. And lastly, you guys, there has been another development in the drama around the Chicago Sky organization because Annie Costabile just said today that Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, and Angel Reese will no longer conduct exit interviews. The team previously said that these three would hold exit interviews at a later date after they did not participate with the rest of the team when the season ended. Somebody commented and said, what does this even mean? And Annie said just that the media won't have a formal opportunity to interview Vandersloot, Atkins, and Reese. Those interviews could be conducted in one-on-one settings if the team players are open to it. So we know the drama that went down with Angel Reese. It seems like she has played her last game as a Chicago Sky. She pretty much ended the season by not playing because of a back injury. I don't believe that. I just think she was done with the team. It was very noticeable. It seemed like her and Ariel Atkins, their relationship was on the rocks because of the things that Angel said to the media. Courtney Vandersloot came out in an interview and said, prior to what people are saying, like, I will definitely be coming back. My age isn't a factor. And so things got really messy in the locker room. They got messy with the organization, and we'll just have to see where Angel Reese goes next. I also thought it was ironic that she tweeted out kind of around the same time that the news was announced that she wouldn't be doing exit interviews. She tweeted out from her podcast page, said, comment a video asking Angel anything you want for the chance to be featured in an episode of Unapologetically Angel. So it seems like her exit interviews will be via her podcast and via fan questions, not media questions. The last thing that I'll say about Angel, and I've told you guys all my thoughts about it, you can watch the other videos about all of this. It's very early in her career to have this big of kind of a fallout with an organization. This was the organization that drafted her. She spent her first only 2 seasons in the WNBA. A lot of times when you see big fallouts like this, especially in the NBA, it's normally when players have been in the league a little bit longer. She hasn't. And so I don't know where she will go next, but I think next season, wherever she ends up, is going to be a real turning point for her, either for the good or the bad, because we're going to find out really quickly if if she's part of a team that's a better team, like, can she actually help her team to be a winning team? Because these first 2 seasons in her career, the Chicago Sky have just sucked. And the thing with the Chicago Sky is they won a championship like 3 or 4 years ago. So they haven't always been a bad organization, but what has ever happened in the past few seasons, it's just been a lot of drama. So I'm very interested to see what happens with Angel next season, where she ends up. But with that, you guys, that's all I have today. We will be live for the games tomorrow. So make sure that you thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week, and we also do live watch parties, especially for the WNBA playoffs. Click that little notification bell so that you don't miss any of our uploads. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Ooh, and ah.